it's so important. It's just so important to surround yourself with the right people, the right knowledge. Welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Welcome back to the show. And man, school started. Summer, if you're in Minnesota, summer has pretty much ended. Heading out and going on an elk hunting trip. So, and things are, the fall is coming and the winter is coming, which I look forward to. Actually, I really enjoy all seasons of the year. Something I think, I didn't always embrace. There was a time in my, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s that I was crabby in the winter. I didn't really like it that much. But then started to say, I got to embrace all seasons because there's nothing, if you live in Minnesota or in the, any cold weather state, you just got to embrace it. So anyways, I want to talk today about hiring a mentor and not even hiring a mentor, just having a mentor. And I think it's really important in business. And you always hear you are who you surround yourself with. The top 5 people that you surround yourself with is who you become. That you can tell somebody's net worth by their network, those types of things. And there's definitely some truth to that. Now, I think sometimes it might be overplayed. I don't think you definitely have, I don't think you have to wipe out all of your friends because you want to get rich and you don't have rich friends. But there is definitely something to be said of those sayings, and there's some truth to them. And so I think it's really important if you are a business owner or wanting to become a business owner, wanting to become a real estate investor, whatever it might be, that you think about, not even think about, that you actually have a mentor. And there's mentors come in paid versions and non-paid versions, and mentors come in books too. So I think that's really important to point out. A lot of my mentors, I look at my bookshelf, it's full of mentors. I look at my phone, I've got Audible. It's full of mentors on there. So those people are truly, they are mentors. They wrote this whole story for me and they've taught me a lot. I mean, a lot of what I apply today is things I've learned in books. And when I got my start, quite frankly, I didn't hire a mentor. I didn't find and seek out a mentor. Now, would it have helped me? Absolutely. But I learned through books, I remember driving around. I mean, I'm throwing CDs into my vehicle and I'm driving around listening to those. There wasn't podcasts at the time. Well, it was just starting, right? The podcast scene was maybe not quite there or just starting. But regardless, those were my early on mentors. And then, people certainly I would meet at meetups and just get introduced to as I started in business. And, those were my early on mentors before I paid for my first mentors. So it's so important. It's just so important to surround yourself with the right people, the right knowledge. The first thing though that I would do is exactly what I did. And so if I were to start over, if I were to say, hey, well, I want to start over and I want to have my trajectory go faster, quicker, right? Sooner. I mean, what would I do? Well, I would do the exact same start. I would just read a ton of books, get your baseline knowledge down. Look, you don't need a mentor to teach you the ABCs. You want that mentor to really help push you to the next level, hold you accountable, get you over the hump. But you don't want that mentor to teach you the basics. So read all of the books that you can. Just dive into them. A thing I'll tell. Here's how I know somebody's going to be successful if I'm mentoring them is, look, I need you to read these 3 books. And in the next time I talk to you, we'll talk a little bit about those books, but I'd like you to have that knowledge done. So I'll meet with them in, a couple weeks, and they've read those 3 books plus 3 more, right? That's the type of desire that you need. That's the type of commitment that you need to have, is going out there and just reading a ton of books, reading everything. If you're saying, hey, I want to be a multifamily real estate investor, find every multifamily real estate investing book, find every basic real estate investing book, find books on mindset, find books on business practices, right? So those are all super important. I want to find those books and I want to read every single one of them that I possibly can. Like I just, that's what I'm spending my time on. Then seek out mentors, because now you've got a baseline knowledge. Now, when a mentor talks about net operating income and all that kind of stuff, you actually have baseline knowledge. Once you have that baseline knowledge, well, then we can start really talking to mentors. And actually, even before that, while you're getting that baseline knowledge, I think it's really important to seek out some groups, right? So there's a lot of meetup groups that are around, that, especially real estate's full of them. But even if you're just getting into a manufacturing business, like, there's meetup groups that you can get involved in and get with the industry, so you start hearing more and more and more about it. When I transitioned from flipping houses to apartments and I was wanting to do syndications, one of the biggest things I did to learn that is, again, I read a bunch of books, but I listened to podcasts, and I'm getting around the terminology, and I'm hearing 70-30 splits, and I'm hearing all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm figuring it out, and understanding what the industry is all about. And then I'm listening to a guy or a gal talk about what they're doing, and I call them up, and I have a 20-minute meeting with them. I've already got a good baseline knowledge. I'm not just asking them stupid easy questions to waste their time. I'm asking them very detailed questions about the intricacies of the business, so they can give me feedback. I'm talking about specific opportunities, those types of things, so they can give me good feedback, and they don't feel like they're wasting their time. So I'm calling up lenders. I'm calling up securities attorneys. I'm calling up property management companies and other real estate investors and syndicators, and I'm just getting some information from them. So those are, again, those are mentors. Those are free mentors. I had a small conversation with them. You're not going to probably continue to have those conversations with those people in most cases, but that's okay. So we're getting, again, a bigger baseline of knowledge. Now, I'm going to talk about finding a mentor that is free, and then finding a mentor that you pay for. Okay, so there's 2 types. So the free mentor is definitely challenging, right? Because not a lot of people want to give their time away for free if they're busy, if they're successful. So for the free mentors, usually you're going to have to add some sort of value to them. Not always, but usually. So if you're looking for a mentor that you want to help you along your journey, your path, you have to figure out how you can add value to them. The thing is, you have to, in my opinion, already understand the value that's needed. Okay. So if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, I'd love you to mentor me, um, you know, I, I, I can exchange, work for mentorship. What kind of work do you need? What can I do for you? It's like, you know what? You didn't even think about what I do. I don't know. It's hard because I don't know what you're good at. Like, that's a hard question for me to answer, right? But if you say, hey, I heard, I see your podcast. I see that you put these on YouTube, and you don't get very many clicks on YouTube, which I don't. I don't put a lot of effort in the YouTube channel, but I'm really good at that. And I could really help you expand your YouTube presence. We could go from, I don't know, what do I get? I don't even pay attention to the stats, maybe 50 clicks, something like that. I could take you from 50 to 500 or 5,000 or 50,000, whatever it is. I can do that. I can spice these up a little bit. You do these LinkedIn posts and on social media posts. I can take those and I can repurpose those for YouTube and make those really cool and, blah, blah, blah. I can do that for you in exchange for look, I want some help. Like I really want to do what you're doing. Okay, that's a value proposition. I got to really think about that. Does that make sense? What's that worth my time? Like, I'm excited about something like that. If somebody's like, "Hey, I know you do value add multifamily, and I want to help with your renovations, and I will do some work for a cost, or I'll give you an excellent deal. I'll beat all the pricing. I'll make sure we're the lowest. Give you a discount below that. That type of thing." Heck yeah, like that's worth a lot. That's huge value. So figure out how you're going to add value to that person that you want to mentor you, and see if there's a good value exchange there, right? So I think that's the first step, is understanding what their needs are, thinking about their business, what they do in their business, what maybe their pain points could be, even asking them what their pain points are, and then thinking about their pain points and maybe coming to them and saying, "Hey, I know you said that X, Y, and Z was your pain point. Here's how I can help alleviate that. Are you interested?" And it doesn't, by the way, it doesn't have to be business. Maybe you hear them talking about wanting to run a marathon, but they can't train, they keep getting injured. And maybe you're really good at training and helping, and you love doing that, and so you can do that. Well, shoot, now I got a captive audience because I'm going to run with this person for an hour, and that's a perfect mentorship opportunity right there, and I can help them train, and I can help them achieve a goal and create a bond, right? So it doesn't always have to be in business. It could be in their personal life. It could be that they want to learn how to play guitar. They want to go on their dream is to go on a elk hunting trip, or go backcountry skiing, or whatever it might be, and you can provide some of that. So okay, let's talk quick about paid mentorships. That one's a lot easier, but it's still important that you choose the right person. Okay. So I think a couple things when we're looking at, well, even just general mentorship, right? Think about where you are in your journey. So me right now, like, I'm okay with paying for mentorship. Now, do I need to hire a multifamily coach, somebody who's a multifamily expert? No, I don't. Would I? Potentially, if they're way ahead of me, and I feel like they've got a ton more experience, they've been in the business for decades, and they are way ahead, light years ahead of me, or doing a niche that I would like to do. Would I hire them? Absolutely. So, look, if I wanted to start to purchase low income housing tax credits, for instance. Okay, I know nothing about that. I'm in multifamily. I know about that. I've rented to Section 8 tenants. I know about that, but I don't know about low income housing tax credits. I don't know how to work that. I don't know the best avenue to go. So would I hire a mentor in that? Absolutely. That's a specialty niche. I would absolutely hire somebody if I were to go that direction. Uh, for me, I'm looking at, well, look, I want to improve our business systems, processes. I want to really streamline things. I want to look at the company and determine where we are lacking, and uh, where we can grow, right? How we can grow strategically, and that'll benefit us and our investors, and our residents, and everybody involved, right? So hiring a business strategy coach is really important. Maybe you're in a mindset block. You just can't get past your own self. Well, hiring a mindset coach is wildly important. I hired a mindset coach there and I had him for a long time, and it was so valuable. It allowed me to go and just get out of my own way, right? It allowed me to go from buying 1 to 4 family properties to buying a large apartment buildings. And I don't think at any time a mindset coach is a bad thing. I think you could always have a mindset coach because we're always getting in our own way. But there might be different coaches for different seasons of your life, and understand that. So understand where you are at and where your specific needs are. If you're just wanting to get into multifamily, then you're probably looking for a multifamily coach. Once you get into multifamily, once you get comfortable, get experience, start buying some deals, feel like I got this down and I've done plenty, then you're going to change from that multifamily coach to maybe a mindset coach to maybe a business strategy coach, whatever it might be. Okay. All right. So let's talk about who that coach is. So a few things I want to make sure you are understanding. This is a paid coach or a non-paid coach. First thing is, what's their experience? What type of training have they had? Understand how long they've been in the industry. Understand, look, if I'm going to hire a business strategy coach and that business strategy coach has never operated a business, they don't know what they're doing there because they've never operated their own business. That to me is a pretty tough sell. Now, not necessarily a terrible thing, and maybe that's not a deal killer for me, but it's definitely something that puts me on just high alert. I'm going, okay, wait a second. You've never operated a business, you've never ran a business. Well, you better have excellent results for your clients. So that's what I'm going to look at with the experience level is, okay, if they have ran a business, uh, how did it go? How many businesses have they ran? Have they exited those businesses? Were they profitable? That type of thing. And then along with that is, what's their experience teaching other people? Okay. And how have they been able to teach other people, and how have those people um, been successful? I want to know that. I want to understand who they have trained, who they have mentored, and how that experience was, and what were the results? What were the results of that? Um, I also want to know, how have they failed? How have they failed their clients? How have they failed in their business itself? If they've owned and operated businesses, how have they failed? How have they struggled? I think that's so important that you have a mentor that has gone through challenges, that has seen hard times. I think that's really important. If you're going to hire somebody to teach you how to do things, that they have seen hard times and they have learned tons of valuable lessons, and so they can tell you when you're about to make a decision, and you see, they see that that's going to kick you in the teeth, like that's a terrible decision. They can warn you, hey, let's look at this, right, and understand that that might not be the direction to go, but we got to walk through this, right? um, I think it's really important to know who you're going to be working with, like in real estate here, and I know in a lot of businesses, um, coaching businesses, there's the main face behind it, but that's not the person you're working with. You're working with another person. Okay, so if the main face has all the experience, that's great. But if the person you're going to be working with, it's going to be actually teaching you, has zero experience, that doesn't give me much confidence, right? So I want to know who I'm working with and what kind of experience have they had, right? So that's really important to understand who you're going to be dealing with and what kind of experience they've had, because these big training and mentoring programs don't necessarily have the main person as your coach. They have somebody else, and sometimes they have no experience or very little experience. They've bought 1 apartment building or something like that. They went through the program. Like, I don't know. I mean, again, maybe if they've had good results working with others, but I don't want somebody that's just brand new, fresh out of the gate and doing just one step in front of me. That's not what I'm looking for. Not in a paid mentor. Maybe in a non-paid mentor. Fine. Um, are they going to provide you systems, training? Are they going to teach you how it's done, application, right? I think that's really important that they actually have the systems that they're going to be able to teach you. They've got, they've got a process that you go through. They've got, if you're in again in real estate, they've got analyzing tools, they've got underwriting, they've got your LOIs and all those kinds of things for you set laid out for you. Um, I wanted to know too is how are they going to challenge you? Right? Are they just going to do everything for you, or are they going to challenge you? Do they have expectations? After my call, what kind of homework do I have? What kind of expectations do I have? And how are you going to hold me accountable? I think that's really important with a mentor, a paid mentor specifically, is how are they going to hold you accountable? You want to make sure they're holding you accountable. Now, you have to hold yourself accountable too, but I think that's important. Connections. Are they going to introduce you to people in the industry? One of the things that was so beneficial with the mentor that I hired, that was the mindset coach. He was amazing at making great introductions. Now, he didn't do it every day. He didn't do it every week. Every time we talked, he didn't do that. But he made some amazing connections for me, people that I've really gotten to know that are in the industry, investors that have invested in deals of mine, just people in the industry that have helped me along the way, along my journey. So he was very instrumental in making really good connections. I mean, he got me some speaking engagements at conferences and just did a really good job at making good connections. And he actually continues to this day to make good connections and to introduce me to people that are really good for me and for them too, right? So he's a good connector. I want to make sure I'm getting in touch with somebody who's going to make great connections. That's so important to me. Uh, the last thing is goals. I want to know what their goals are. First of all, you have to know what your goals are. Obviously, that's really important. You don't want to be talking to a mentor and not know what you want to do. That's one of my least favorite questions is, yeah, I want to get into real estate. What should I do? Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't know what you want to do. Uh, no, know what you want to do. But then I think it's really important to understand the goals of the mentor. What are your goals? And not only what are your goals working with me, because I think that's really valuable. What are your goals working with me? But what are your goals, your career goals? What are your business goals? Where are you going? I want to know that. Do you have motivation still, or are you just kind of like, I'm doing this to pass some time? Right. So I want to understand what your goals are. So to wrap it all up, mentorship, in my opinion, is super important. It can be paid. It doesn't have to be paid. Paid is obviously, again, it's the easiest to find because they're out there. But it can get expensive, and I understand that. And so paid doesn't necessarily isn't the right fit for everybody at every time. Now, if you can afford it, is it worth it? I think it absolutely is, as long as you find the right mentor. I think another thing to really think about when you're finding the right mentor, again, paid or not paid, is their personality. Does it jive with you? Do you feel like they have similar values that you have? Look, I want people, I'm going to coach people who have, I feel like have similar values to me. I don't want to coach somebody who's just in it for the quick money, because quite frankly, that's not real estate. But I don't want to coach somebody who's in it just for the money, for the flash, for the Ferraris, all that kind of stuff. But that if you are into that, I guarantee you can find the coach for you. I already know the coach for you. I know the guy who, if you want Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all that kind of stuff, he's going to promise you that stuff. He's going to say, look at this cool stuff I can buy, right? That's just not my style. Like I could care less about that stuff. Now, I'm not saying you can't care about it, but that's just not what I care about. So I'm not going to jive with people that that's their only goal is to buy the Ferraris and, you know, cool beach houses and all that kind of stuff. That's that's just not going to jive. So find somebody that fits your personality, fits your values. Who, if you are a conservative, if you not politically, of course, maybe politically too, but if you're conservative, if you're saying, hey, I I don't like underwriting deals and being aggressive with those types of deals. Well, find a mentor that is conservative. Find a mentor that fits that bill. If you're super aggressive and just are planning on going out and buying properties like crazy, and you're okay with high projections and like, hey, I think real estate is going up and it's going to go up forever, so I'm going to be as aggressive as possible. That's okay. Find that mentor, and they're going to teach you how to be aggressive. That's okay because that's what you want, right? All right. So, but again, wrapping it up, do it. Find mentors, find people, surround yourself with people. Uh, there's a ton of groups out there. There's mastermind groups out there. I think mastermind groups are okay. Side tangent again. I'm trying to wrap up here, but side tangent on mastermind groups. Mastermind groups are okay. I think you can do really well. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable no matter what. With mastermind group, you got to make sure you are a part of the group. I mean, by a part of the group, I don't mean just signing up and being there. You can be present and not present. You have to make sure you are involved, that you are getting in front of people, that you're actually truly talking with people. If you're introverted, I think mastermind groups are really tough. I just do. You're still going to be hiding in the corner, just like you're going to a conference. Think about how you show up at a conference. If you show up at a conference and you have a hard time talking with people, you just don't meet a lot of people, and you don't make a lot of good connections, then a mastermind group is going to be very similar. If you're introverted and you want a mastermind group, find a very small mastermind group. Find a mastermind group that has, 3 to 6, 8 people at the most. Okay. If you are extroverted, I think mastermind groups can be great. And I think you can find a mastermind group that has 50 plus people. I think that's fine. That's not really a mastermind. That's more of a powwow group. But um, you know, there's a lot of those types of groups out there, and they can be really good, but you have to be the one that shows up more than anything. Right? You have to be the one that makes sure they're present at the meetings, involved in the meetings, and really, really have to pay attention to that, because otherwise you just don't get the value out of it. I think it's a waste of time and a waste of money, and just listen to podcasts and read books and stuff like that, because you're not making true connections. So that's the value of a mastermind, is that you make true connections. I love the hybrid model where there's some masterminding with the mentors, with the people that are learning, with the coaches, and then there's also the one-on-one aspect. I love that. So if you're looking at programs and they've got that, I think that's a great value that they're adding. But again, even so, if it's just the mastermind and you're just sitting in the corner, that doesn't do any good. Or if there's just they call it a mastermind, but there's somebody talking the whole time and everybody else is listening, that's not a mastermind. That's just a preaching session. That's all. So find somebody, find your connections, read your books, listen to your podcasts, right? All that kind of stuff. Get your baseline, and then seek out the right mentors for you, paid or not paid. It doesn't matter. Add value regardless, and go out there and crush it and do great things. I want to see more and more people doing great things. I think man, look, if everybody were doing great things, this country would be amazing. It already is. There's already a ton of opportunity here. There's already amazing things that you can achieve here. But I think the more people that go and do it, the more people that are making massive impact, just the better it's going to be. So let's do it all together. All right. I'm Todd Dexheimer. I'm signing out. Make every day a Saturday.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. Say, I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. But your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out. And we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.